Hello students, welcome back. This is Mrs. Mercado speaking. This lecture is going to be over chapter 26, which deals with capital investment analysis. We are reaching the end of the semester, so it is very important that we keep up with all of our assignments. Just a reminder, these lectures that I provide you are intended to help guide you in the problem solving. It is the student's responsibility to ensure that they read the chapter in its entirety, that they review the PowerPoints provided, and utilize those PowerPoints to take notes as you read. And then these are supplemental videos to assist you in completing your homework problems. Some of the homework problems that you have in Cengage do have short videos embedded within them. They're called the Show Me How videos. These are supplemental videos. I go into the problems a little bit more in depth because those little exercises or videos that they include in Cengage are kind of short and sometimes might be confusing to you. I will not be covering every single problem that you have for homework. I'm going to let you do some critical thinking on your own and try to solve problems on your own. I'm going to go over some of them. But if you have any questions as you're working or completing your assignments, please make sure that you contact me Monday through Friday, and I'll respond as soon as possible. Okay. Now this particular chapter deals with capital investment analysis, which is basically the process by which management plans, evaluates, and controls investments which involve fixed assets. Okay. Capital investment analysis is very important to a business because such investments affect the profitability for a long period of time. So whenever they're deciding on a project or how to invest their money, this is a long-term investment. So they need to make sure that they're making the best decision. So they need to analyze all of their information before determining what project to go with or what decision to make. There's several methods that are being explained in this chapter, such as the average rate of return method, the net present value method. So there's a lot of methods that are explained. Make sure that you read over that. Okay, there are several factors that may complicate the capital investment analysis decision. Such factors include the impact of income tax, the unequal lives of alternative proposals. Maybe one proposal is for 10 years, the other proposal is for 15 years. So you're comparing apples to oranges. But even though it's a very different comparison, you need to be able to find a ground to be able to compare them and then make the decision that is best for the company. Okay, other items that might complicate or make the decision more difficult is uncertainty, changes in price levels, and maybe some qualitative considerations. Okay, so this is a very important chapter. There's a lot of important information disclosed in the chapter. Do not skip the process of reading. Okay, reading is essential. It is very important that you read before you attempt your problems. Now, if you don't like to read, if you go into Cengage, the ebook does have an e-reader for you. Okay, you can just click a button and there's a person there. You can decide if it's a male or female voice. It reads the chapter to you. Okay, just make sure that you listen or you read the content provided in the chapter, so when you're working out the problems, you know, okay, I need to refer to this section of the chapter, or I remember or I recall seeing an example of this. Okay, don't expect to identify everything from a problem to an example. You need to do some analysis and okay, what am I going to do to be able to solve this problem? You're not going to find the solutions to every problem in the book. You have to use your head a little bit, critical thinking, analyze the information, and then use the information provided to solve the problem. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you with any more information. I'm going to jump right into the first problem that I'm going to be covering today, and that problem is exercise 26-1. Okay, so exercise 26-1 deals with the average rate of return. Okay, so it says the following data is accumulated by Watershed Incorporated in evaluating two competing capital investment proposals. So we have two projects. We have Project A and Project C. Okay, the amount of the investment is $55,000 for Project A, $50,000 for Project C. The useful life: Project A is going to last me 12 years. Project C is going to last me 15 years. The estimated residual value of my investment is going to be $5,000 for Project A, $6,000 for Project C. And then my estimated total income over the useful life of my investment is going to be $57,600 for Project A and then $63,000 for Project C. So using all of the information that is being provided to you, you have to determine the expected average return of return. I'm sorry, you're going to have to determine the expected average rate of return for each project, okay? So, in order for us to be able to calculate the average rate of return for each project, there are several steps that need to be completed, okay? So I've broken down the steps for you, okay? The first thing we need to do is we need to calculate our average annual income, okay? Now, your textbook gives you the average rate of return formula. I've included it down here. The average rate of return is your average annual income divided by your average investment, okay? So I've broken down the categories into my average annual income, which is the top part, over the average investment, which is going to be your denominator, to be able to finally use the formula for my average rate of return. Okay, so the first thing we have to calculate is your average annual income. Okay, let me just paste this down here. Okay, so your average annual income is going to be the income amount that you have provided for each of the projects. How much income are you anticipating generating with each of the projects? And then you're going to divide that by the number of years that your the useful life of each of the projects. Okay, so for project A, okay, it says that I'm going to have income of $57,600. Okay, that's the income that you're anticipating generating, and I'm going to divide it by 12 years, the useful life. Okay, okay. And let's see what that gives us. That's going to give me $4,800. So all I did was I divided my income over the useful life. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing for project C. For project C, my income is $63,000. And then project C is going to last me 15 years. Okay. So I'm going to calculate that over here, 63,000 divided by 15 years. So that's going to give me an average annual income of $4,800 for project A, of $4,200 for project C. Okay. Now I'm going to calculate my average investment. Okay. I've got the formula right here for average investment. This is coming straight out of your ebook. So your average investment is equal to your initial cost plus your residual value divided by 2. Okay, so the first thing we have is our initial cost. Let's calculate project A first. Okay, so my initial cost, how much are you investing into this project? Well, I'm investing $55,000. Okay, so let's put those $55,000. I'm going to add my residual value. The problem says that you have an estimated residual value for project A of $5,000. Okay, and then I am going to divide by 2. Okay, so let's see what that gives us. That gives me $30,000, okay, for project A. We're going to do the same thing for project C, okay. For project C, my investment is $50,000. I'm going to add my residual, which is $6,000. And then I'm going to divide by 2. And let's see what that gives us. 50,000 plus 6,000 divided by 2, that gives me 28,000. Okay, so I've got my average investment for project A of 30,000, for project C of 28,000. Now that I have both of these components, I can apply these two amounts that we've calculated to my average rate of return formula. Okay, your average rate of return is your average annual income, which is what we calculated over here. I'm going to highlight that one color, and I'm going to divide it by your average investment. Okay. So my average rate of return for project A is going to be my annual income, which is $4,800. And I'm going to divide that by my average investment, which is $30,000 for project A. Okay, and let's see what that gives us. Okay, and these are going to be percentages. There we go. So 4,800 divided by 30,000. So I'm going to get these two numbers, 48 and 30, and I'm going to divide them. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for project C. For project C, I'm going to have 4,200 divided by 28,000. I forgot to put the comma, that way just to keep it clean. Okay, and let's see what we get. So that would be 4,200 divided by 28,000. Okay, that gives me 15%. So my average rate of return for project A is 16%. This is a solution. This is what they're asking us to solve. So and let me just copy this right down here, that way we know. So for project A, my average rate of return is 16%. For project C, is 15%. Okay, so that is what the requirement stated for us to do, to determine the expected average rate of return for each of the projects. Okay, so this was just a matter of explaining how do we get to the average rate of return. To get to the average rate of return, you have to calculate your average annual income, your average investment, and then the average rate of return becomes a piece of cake. It's just your average annual income over your average investment. Okay, so that is pretty simple. That is the first exercise that we are covering. This is exercise 26-1. Okay, I'm going to be recording another 2 videos over chapter 26. Make sure that you listen to those additional videos as well, as I will be covering some 2 additional problems that are very important and that will be included in your homework. Thank you.